Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host, Logan Landers, and today we're doing a 2022 AFC East Division preview. Now, I can't do these by myself. We've been covering all these divisions over the past few weeks. We're done with the NFC. Now we're going on over to the AFC, the East. And, of course, my co-host each and every single Monday is the one, the only madman, Mark Mancini. Welcome back to the show, sir. How you doing?
It's always a pleasure to get into Dixie and talk football with you on Monday. A little madness, man. I am revved up.
Yes, sir. It's going to be NFL, college, all of the football world is finally back in full swing. I'm excited for it, man. And once again, if you guys are excited for football, who do you think is going to win this division? Drop a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or on our podcast links on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if it is you listen to podcasts. And we will surely appreciate we'd see all of your comments. We interact with the fans because without you, none of this would be possible. Well, Mark, we are week one, finally almost done with the NFL. And, man, the AFC East shaping up to be a pretty solid division. Let's talk about these Buffalo Bills, the team that helped kick it off on earlier this week, man. What a year so far they've had, man, how dominant they looked. What do you like about Buffalo so far? How do you think they're going to fare out the rest of the season?
Well, first of all, if I need to go back east and I need to book an airline ticket with American or Delta or one of these airlines, I don't really need to do that. I can hop on Josh Allen's football. He can get me back east in a hurry. And let me tell you, I don't put the Buffalo Bills as what they're going to do this season. I call it the revenge tour. After that loss in the playoffs to Kansas City, they went out and they stacked up and they brought in Von Miller. And unbelievable. And I'm still trying to figure out if Jalen Ramsey's in Stephon Diggs' back pocket, because the Bills went into SoFi Thursday and they took the Rams apart and they sent a message to the NFL. We mean business. And Buffalo is going to be a tough team to corral this year. I don't look for anything short of the Super Bowl with these guys.
Yeah, Buffalo looked just downright impossible to defend, man. They look great. Like you said, Allen threw for almost 300 yards. The running game was looking pretty good as well, over 100 there. Stephon Diggs was doing phenomenal work. And the Rams just couldn't get out the gate. They just struggled week one. We all know the issues with the running game. Stafford didn't look the cleanest. But, man, you're not kidding. Buffalo is on a revenge tour. That was a huge win. A lot of people had this game a lot closer, but 31-10, I mean, the Bills just blew the doors off of them. The secondary wasn't working for the Rams. They just could not corral Josh Allen and this team. And like you mentioned, Von Miller had a great day for himself, coming back, facing his whole team, got 2 sacks. And I will say the haircut's a little bit questionable, but the on-the-field play is still as great as ever, even as he gets a little bit older. But, yeah, man, Buffalo is looking tremendous so far 1 week into the season. I can't wait to see how they progress.
Rejuvenated Von Miller and get beat in your backyard. That was a clear-cut message, beating them in double digits to take out the Rams, the Super Bowl champion Rams. The Rams are shaking it off, saying it's only one game. But Buffalo's not looking at it as one game. They're looking at it as this is the blueprint on how you take out good teams. And, boy, did they take them out. And I'll tell you, when you looked at that game in the first half, they could have put up 50 on the Rams.
They really could have. And it was insane to watch, man. And like you said, the Rams were excited getting their ring ceremony. And then all that just to get beat like that, opening the season. They're hoping to get a win in week 2, get a little bounce-back win. But, hey, it remains to be seen what the Rams will do. But so far, man, the Bills are looking solid as a rock. Well, let's move on over to the New York Jets. Tough loss for them, 24-9 against Baltimore this past week. How do you think the Jets are going to rock with this upcoming season? We know that Zach Wilson will be there for a few games. Joe Flacco standing in. How will they do this upcoming season, Mark?
Well, the first thing you got to do is keep Zach Wilson away from his mom's friends. That's the first thing you want to do. Make sure if there's any parties or anything, keep him completely around. I don't know. I look at Zach Wilson like I look at Trey Lance. I mean, you saw what happened with the 49ers yesterday. I mean, why are you giving this guy a shot? I know you drafted him. You gave up high picks to get him, but go with the guy that won you, at least got you to the Super Bowl, and Jimmy Garoppolo. But we got a Jet team that I think is better off with Flacco there. Rough go of it yesterday. The Ravens are tough, and I've always said this about a Raven team: if you're going to open up a season against those guys, as long as the Harbaugh is coaching, you're going to have a problem. And the Ravens just relentless pursuit of putting these guys in their place. The Jets didn't look good at all. And they better right the ship, because I got them in second in the division. But boy almighty, what happened yesterday in New York is a travesty.
Yeah. And you're not kidding, man. I mean, when you look at the stats, I'm sure Joe Flacco, I thought his arm was about to fall off. He threw the ball 59 times. I mean, the running game, it wasn't like the running game was awful either, right? They ran for a combined 83 yards on 17 carries. I mean, feed those guys a little bit more. I mean, Michael Carter had a good, 10 for 60, not too bad. Breece Hall, 6 for 23. I mean, Flacco ain't young, man. I mean, this might affect him going into week 2, because throwing the ball that much, and he hasn't been a starter in a little while, but man, I couldn't believe it. I mean, Flacco, threw for over 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT, sacked 3 times. But like you said, man, the defense was really what couldn't really get much going for this Jets team. Gave up 24 points. Lamar Jackson had a great day, over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. They did pick him off once. But yeah, this Baltimore team just kind of ran away with it all in all, man. But yeah, I don't know. The Jets they just came out stumbling. I think they came out flat. Just nothing looked right. And I don't know if, I know they got Mike White there, I believe, still as another backup. I mean, if Flacco struggles again, I'm sure they're going to start him again week 2. I mean, if he struggles kind of the way he did, if they haven't thrown that much, for God's sake, you might have to throw Mike White in there just to preserve his arm the rest of the season until Wilson comes back.
Well, not only that, I think that when you looked at that game, the Ravens won on both sides of the ball in the trenches. I mean, they just kind of pushed the Jets around, and the Jets couldn't sustain any kind of pressure, and that's it. And the big key here is Lamar Jackson turning all that money down, betting on himself. Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you one thing. The more and more I hear about these guys betting on themselves, I think of DeMarcus Cousins in the NBA, who bet on himself, and he didn't really get anything after he got injured. So beware the Juan Sotos and the Lamar Jacksons.
Yeah, like I said, it is a risky move for Lamar to turn down all that money, going for himself, having hopefully for himself, fingers crossed, a really good season so far, kicked it off great. We'll see if it can continue. But yeah, man, these Jets, it ain't looking good. I don't think it's going to get much better this upcoming week. I just don't see it yet. All I say, though, man, just give the running backs the ball more. They were the kind of the bright spot in this team. I like I said, I know Flacco has the great 300 yards, but my God, he threw the ball 60 times. I would hope he'd get 300 yards on that. But yeah, the Jets, especially with Soleil being the defensive guru who they hired, still hasn't really clicked with it yet. I don't know if it's the pieces. I don't know if it's the scheme. I'm not sure. But if I'm the Jets, man, I'm not hitting that panic button yet. It's week 1. But I'd want to see a stronger, more just willpower, the determined team in week 2. But like I said, it remains to be seen what this team's going to do. So far, not off to the hottest start in the league. And speaking of not coming off to a start, man, let's go to New England. What's going on with the Patriots? They didn't look good at all this past week.
They always seem to have problems in Miami. I don't know if it's less potassium. Maybe you got to have more bananas down there in that warm tropical weather or whatever. But Patriots stumbled, and it doesn't get any better for them in week 2 going to Pittsburgh. So this is going to be interesting. I was surprised with Mac Jones in the crew. I thought they'd have more of a team effort in beating Miami, but boy, I'll tell you, it's hard to see a Belichick team not prepared to go into Miami and win this game.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird. We all know that Jones, but we learned he's dealing with a slight back injury. Don't like he's going to miss any time, hopefully, because like I said, he is a good young quarterback. But yeah, 21 of 30, 213, a touchdown, a pick. I mean, not the greatest day, but it wasn't like he was just being awful. The running core couldn't really get much going under 100 yards on 22 carries. You need them to step up. Harrison, Stevenson. Receiving core, I'm still not sold on this receiving core yet, Mark. They don't got a true number one, really. Jacoby Myers led the way, 4 catches for 55. But there's really not much of a big threat. I mean, Devontae Parker, I mean, that was your big, true number one guy, and he only got one catch. And as for the defense, like you say, he gave up 20 points week one. Tyreek Hill just ran all over the place. He looked great. His first game as a Dolphin. Tua looked really good too, right? Over 270 yards on the day. Kept it clean. One touchdown, no picks, and a pretty good passing rating also. The running court, like I said, they were able to stuff the run, so that is their one kind of, you look at that as a positive. But yeah, they just could not stop the passing attack with Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle as well had a good day. And I don't know, man. I mean, the Patriots, I mean, they like I said, they came out flat. They just couldn't get it done. And Mike McDaniel got his first win as a Dolphins head coach, man.
Well, and the problem is, like you alluded to earlier, that they don't have that true number one receiver, that Randy Moss type. They don't have that tight end and Gronkowski. So that's the problem there. And Mac Jones is a good quarterback. I like him. I think he's going to be a decade quarterback there in New England. But, you know, there's just holes. The defense didn't really show me a lot. Miami, you know, they made Tua look like Dan Marino, and those wide receivers kind of look like Mark Duper and Mark Clayton.
Yeah, you're not kidding, man. And also, too, the turnover battle is what killed them, too. They had 3, 2 of those being fumbles, 1 pick. And that's what really hurt them in this game. And I guess we'll go over and talk about the Dolphins now, the team who beat them a little bit more. But, yeah, like I said, I think Tua looked great. Week one kind of, you know, silenced some of the guys who were saying that he might not be the quarterback. He looked great week one. We'll see if it can continue. But I liked how this Dolphins team played. They played good. They played aggressive. They went forward a lot. And it looks like they're not going to be a conservative type of ball club. I mean, you saw McDaniels, he's not afraid to really go out there and push it when maybe a lot of other teams might punt or might not go for it. He's not going to be scared, man. He's going for it.
Well, the problem with the Dolphins is they kind of remind me of the UCLA Bruins out here. They start out the season like a bat out of hell. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of the year, they can't seem to win a game they need to get into the playoffs. I think their record in cold weather under 30 degrees is like 2-20-something. Yeah. But it's a Dolphin team also that really hasn't had a quarterback since Dan Marino was there. We've seen a lot of guys come through there. Tua's the next guy. Can Tua lead this team to a Super Bowl? Can he lead them deep in the playoffs? I don't know. He's a small type of quarterback. And when you have small type of quarterbacks, to me, is they have a hard time seeing over defenses. So that's going to be the key there. There's a lot of hype in Miami. I think, you know, the head coach that they let go last year, that was a big mistake, and Pittsburgh picked him up as an assistant. So this is a Dolphin team. I think you've got to really look at management or put somebody in charge that can really get it. It's a far cry from the Don Shula, far cry from the 14-0 season of 72. And definitely a far cry since having a Dan Marino quarterback this team.
Yeah, that's true also. But I think one thing that could help the Dolphins, if they can continue to really put that defensive pressure on that we saw in week one, that's going to help them out tremendously if they do have some struggles on offense. They got 2 sacks as a team. Brandon Jones looked phenomenal. 6 passes defended, 4 tackles for loss as a squad. So I think that defense could be kind of a sleeper team if it continues the way it did. Because, I mean, I think a lot of people, no one expected the Patriots to only get 7 points on the board. I mean, you know, like I said, we talked about the receiver struggles. But, I mean, Mac Jones looked great last year. But I still think that, you know, they're still missing a few pieces from us seeing the Patriots of old. But yeah, Mark, let's get into our final standing predictions. Like I said, we're already 1 week in. So do you see these changing a whole lot, or how do you have your standings shaken out?
Well, I like Buffalo, and I don't think anybody's going to challenge Buffalo. Yeah. We're going to find out what the Jets are made out of. Usually after 3-4 weeks, we can find out where this thing shakes down. They got some big road games. One of them's in Pittsburgh, I think, in week 4. It's going to be interesting. New England, on the other hand, you know, you don't want to go down 0-2 in a division where you're chasing Buffalo. So that's going to be something. But I think the real surprise is, does Miami stay in the cellar, or do they leapfrog New England and get the Jets at second? That's going to be the thing right now. The interesting thing. But I really think nobody's challenging Buffalo in this division.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've still got Buffalo running away with the division, getting it in this one. I'm going to go second place. I think the Dolphins. I'll go with them. I just think that they came off to a hot start. We'll see if Tua can continue his success. For third, I'll go the Patriots just because, like you said, unless they pick somebody up at the receiver core, I don't really see it happening. Then fourth, I've got the Jets with Wilson being out for the time being, and I just didn't see much fire from them in week one. It ain't looking too good out there for the Jets, so I got them in last once again in this division. But like you said, who knows, man? It's still a young season, 1 week in. We got a lot of football left to play. I know all of us here, Hundreds Football and yourself, we're all going to be watching these games closely, analyzing, seeing who moves up, who moves down. And hey, most importantly, man, football's back. And that's what we're here for. That's our bread and butter. And we are excited to give you weekly content with game previews, standing updates like we're doing right now, predictions, a bunch of Legends interviews, Legend specials as well, talking about some of the game's greatest players. And we do just a ton of amazing content, 15 to 20 episodes, give or take, per week. And like I said, we go live on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Check us out over there for our podcast, as well as Apple Podcasts. Wherever we listen to podcasts, over 1,000 episodes over there. And I've lost track, but well over 1,000 plus on Facebook and YouTube. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt. Once again, thank you once again to my special guest, Madman Mark Mancini, coming on, doing an AFC East division preview. It's always a blast doing these with you, man. Picking your brain, seeing what you got going on. I've been your host today, Logan Landers. Y'all have a great day, a great week. Enjoy some football in week 2, and we will talk to you again on another live episode. We'll see you soon.